And our next fireside chat, it's already showing, it's on retailer engagement. And of course, we heard a lot about this engagement already today because it's key to both issues of production and consumption. My first question is, why is it useful to work with retailers and big companies controlling a large quantity of products? I think you mentioned that in some of the countries you work with the largest players, so maybe.
I should, I should start again. You don't forget my voice. Thank you. Definitely to work with the big players of the food industry is important, and more if we have this supply chain approach. It's very important for them to be commit and to do changes. Sometimes, and for me, has been a learning process. We were very focused on that when we spoke and as we spoke in the first panel, small producers or production side has to change. But we were relating in that change, and we put so much responsibility in them. And then when we understand that no matters if you said, I want to do things better, if you don't create the conditions and make the changes inside of the weight of your operation, it will never happen. And the level of changes are very serious. It's not just to say I will commit. It's to be to have enough information to understand the magnitude of the change, to do the investments that is needed, to name responsibles around, and to make the following in the report and transparency. That this is something very important in terms of working with the private sector. So to answer shortly, the importance of work with them is that for us they are kind of crossroads, and they are the perfect link between the production and the consumption. And with them, we can have a great ally if we manage to drive them to the proper changes.
Thank you. Why we work with the private sector, we have at least the 3 points about that. And number one is about as I explained in the previous presentation, that to find out the ecolabel product in Indonesia is very difficult, right? So we need approach the store or the retailers to their can provide the ecolabel. So the availability for the sustainable commodity or the sustainable palm oil product available in the market, and then also consumer easy to find it. And then the second point is about the transparency of the supply chain. In the same times, we all want to increase and create about the many actors can involve to develop and to make the sustainable product. So this is also important. So we just thinking about maybe now it's only one store can provide the eco label. Maybe this is in the same time the store another store also can produce with the same product. And then the last point is about the business. I mean, in here is that the store and retailer, it is not only provide the product just for the consumer, but in the same time, in Indonesia, they are also provide and supply the product for the big company like the hotel, Horeca. In the same times, in WWF also we work with the many association for the hotel and also restaurant. So this is will be very important and strategic to we can link it that. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I could hear you fine. I hope you could too. I completely get the role and the very, very central role of retailers, but I imagine it's not always easy to work with them. So my next question would be, was it difficult, and if so, which I think maybe sometimes, what made it difficult? And on the other hand, how did you convince them to work with the project, with the program in your countries? And I will start with him.
Yeah, maybe I can revise for the wording that this is not difficult but challenging, because based on our experience in the same times, this challenging we try to make like the opportunity. The one thing is about the what is the challenging. In the same times, because work with the private sector or the business engagement, we cannot use the conservation or ecology language. We trying use the same language like the economic value. So our team, yeah, again I must say thanks for my team that they are can make the good communication and then good the language to how to the company can understand about the valuation of the economic for the conservation or the ecology. So the challenging is about the sustainability is cost, but in the other side, that the cost we transfer to the potential to like the branding. Maybe yeah, I mean is we calculate for the like the cost benefit analysis something like that oh yeah, this is cost because repackaging you need the more extra cost, you need buy the material is extra cost, but in the other side, if your branding, your company branding high, so the consumer will become to you, so you can calculate how much you can get the profit. That's the one challenging go to the another opportunity. And then the second thing is about the, again this is also thank you for the we work collaboration with the national office for the WWF. uh, if the store have the correlation and affiliation with the multinational company in Europe, it is not easy but more helpful for us, because we always like the call help. Okay, you can pressure in your country and I can pressure in our country. So this is also good for us. So again, yeah, the sentence is the collaboration and working together is better for us. So we can make it for happen. And then yeah, sustainability is again not too hard effort, but yeah, still need to creation how to we can use the language. And then the last point is about the incentive. Again, to talk with the business company, I believe all audience in this forum or in the conference and agree that the incentive is always the talking about the tangible or the monetary, right? But in the other side, my team is create that the incentive is not only monetary, but is incentive is like the intangible kind. So we always bring these people go to our conference, and then we prepare like the table, and then you can show your product in the. This is all about the marketing, so we can link it this opportunity. So I think yeah, again the challenging we create to like the opportunity, and then I think we can work together about it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, in our case, I think you mentioned, but just to summarize, as it depends of which kind of a stakeholder it is. If they are commit or are part of a multinational or part of a consumer goods forum or something that already has some clear commitments about sustainability, they're the most interested to work with us. It's sometimes it's not us calling them, it's them calling us. But we were very cautious about how to work with them, because in terms of the reputational risk to be associated with the big brands, it creates some suspicious between different stakeholders. So it's very important to be very clear about what we want and what we are pursuing, and understand the levels of, well, the role of each. I think it's very important to have that. Sometimes we lost in the role, and we're working with this big company or we're creating this huge impact. But if you forgot what's your role there, you can be more exposed to the risk. But so saying that, we're working with companies who are big companies. One of them depends of the European multinational, but the other one is a very big company who already has shareholders, and the shareholders are interested in sustainability. So they already have identified this as something that they want to move forward, and I think in terms of consumption, That's something that we have the advantage is very positive, because in sometimes they're kind of lost. They don't know how to do it. Because when you are trying to implement sustainability, it's a challenge when you're scaling up things. So we sit with them, we start to identify which are the common topics that we want to work, and we are working together, but they are not financiating us, we're not financiating them, and we are collaborating. And this is something that's a learning. We're partners, we're not consultants, and that's something that it's need to be clear. It's very important. But we are very aware that if we move them, we can create huge impact. So that's something that for us it make the case. But something else that why and how we're working with them is try to improve transparency and reporting. They have the way to communicate to the different shareholders or stakeholders. And one of the things that we have identified in this in the project and some other that we have with the retailer is that they're keen to speak with the consumer, but they don't know how. And the consumers are very suspicious about how food industry speaks about sustainability. So we are trying to produce something that we call sustainability codes, and it's how to tell your story about sustainability without being too exposed to reputational risk or even greenwashing, because they try to tell the story, oversell the story, and identified what it's the things that the consumer understand, and because the decision-making process at the supermarket level is super fast, no? So it has been super interesting to understand that and to be able to co-create with experts and from the field of supermarkets and consumer, from the field of advertising, and for the field that we have in conservation, to combine our knowledge and to try to see to create messages clear and transparent for the consumers. So it has been very interesting.
I bet it was a learning curve for everyone, but I hope for the better, and it sounds like it. So I would like to ask our audience if you have some questions on this topic of retailer engagement.
Okay.
I'm just thinking if I have a question. Maybe it's not the topic here, but I was hearing earlier that you also worked a lot on behavior change, right? And as you said, the decisions in the supermarket are made very fast. I don't know if because we also heard, and that's our experience, that you have knowledge doesn't mean that you change your way of consumption. Maybe you have some insights on this.
We do have, and I have my expert here. So Ferney, I will ask you if you can answer that question and how we're addressing behavioral change. And it's a very interesting learning.
Yes,
Come here.
Yeah, the retailers are like the right place to do so, because what we are trying to do with them is to enable the conditions for people to take decisions in the right place, in the right moment they are buying food. You know, there's not the same if I tell you now that you have to take care of the banana, and if I tell you or give you the conditions when you are in a shelf. So that's why we are working very close with them, because we found that this is one of the opportunities that the retailers provide to us in terms of people engagement, because there is something that we could do behind the shelves, but there are so many things to do in front of the shelves, and this is part of the behavioral change approach that we are testing now. We have some pilots, and we really trust that will be work, but let you know later how it works. We are in the piloting process
So this
now.
is. So we have to meet again. That's a good good news. Like a cliffhanger. Yeah, please.
No, I think I already covered it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. So thank you too, and
My
I think
pleasure.
you are staying with me this
I will
time.
make-
Thank you, coming.